is Lilith the Star, and oh, sorry. As promised, I am frizzy haired and everything. Back today because it's Beltane. I still have horrible arms. Anyway, happy Beltane to everybody who celebrates it. And as I said, I was going to talk to you about a thing that has been happening during the last couple of weeks, and it is to do with paganism. So perfect day to do it. I did do a ritual today, and I've got it's not really my book of shadows anymore, it's just a book of scribbles, and will soon become a book of artwork to go with the scribbles, but it's going to be like ritual planning and stuff like that. It's mostly blank. Anyway, I've thrown it around enough. So, I'm talking about pagan things. Now, when I was at school, I was the only pagan to start with, and then got a group of friends together. I say friends, some of them I wasn't friends with in the beginning, but they ended up becoming my friends because we started a coven together because of me talking to people and us deciding that gods were talking to us and stuff like that, and we called them down and we did rituals, and I have horrible arms still. Why am I doing that? I don't know. Anyway, I'm currently in my PJs because I finished the ritual about an hour ago and have just been having a snuggle time with my cats as one goes shooting past, because they were very much trying to get involved, proving that they are my familiars. More growler than Loki though, despite the fact that Loki was being really grumpy earlier when I hadn't done anything for a while, so weren't you? So anyway, coven. Set one up, and yeah, it went really well. And now, I don't really go into too much how I found out I was a follower of Loki, but a friend of mine is a high priestess up north, because I am not up north. I used to be, I am not anymore. And she came down south for it was the Shuttleworth Living History Day. And the two of us went off for a wander into the woods and around there. We sat and we had a chat and a discussion. And it turned out that Loki was the one that had been trying to talk to me for a while. And he is not subtle at times. Ow! Growler! I don't want to play with your toys right now. And all that kind of thing. And I when anyone asks, so why do you follow Loki? It's kind of, I never say that I chose him, because I didn't. I kind of get on with them now, like the Norse gods. And it was all to do with my stepdad, who was a believer in Thor and all that kind of thing. And I couldn't understand how someone like Thor could allow him to get away with what he was doing. He was not a nice man. He was a horrible man, and he destroyed my sister's life, my mum's life, and my life. And I now am currently not talking to my mother at all, because I've had enough of it and the abuse and all that shit. So when I found out that Loki was the one that had been reaching out to me, it was kind of like, I don't like them. I don't want to touch it with a barge pole. And I was told, well, you either try and work with him, or he's going to work with you and it won't be pleasant. So, put a man up. I hate using that sentence, but it was the only one that really worked. Go out there, talk to him, work with him, and understand what he's asking you to do. And I have tried my best. I'll admit my best is sometimes not good enough for him, and that's my fault. And I have been ignoring my path for quite a long time. I did that video 3 years ago, and I did a Samhain ritual, and that has been it until today. Well, I've done Yule things, I've invited people round, I've done small things, like I've actually done things to celebrate the day, like gone out for a walk. I didn't go out today in nature, but I went out. I don't normally go out on my days off to go unless it's to go shopping for food, because around here scares me. But yeah. I was going somewhere with this. God damn it. Yeah. So I normally do things. I don't do rituals. So I'm aware that he's not happy with me at the minute, and I know I'm going to have to face up to that, and I am not going to lie, I'm kind of afraid to face up to that, because having a god pissed at you is terrifying. Knowing it's for your own fault is another thing, but I like to think I'm brave enough to admit when I'm wrong, and I am wrong, and he knows that, and I have been over the last couple of months trying to make tiny little reaches of, okay, I'm trying. I don't feel well enough to do this. I don't, I've battled with depression over the last couple of years, the loss of my granddad, the loss of 2 friends last year, moving, people being complete and utter twats, and just haven't had a chance to deal with it. However, a couple of weeks ago, a friend of mine, work colleague, came up to me and was like, "So, how did you realise that you were a follower of Loki?" So I explained the whole situation to her, what happened, and everything like that. And she was like, "Okay, cool. I'm drawn to this particular goddess." I'm like, "Okay. Do you think that could happen?" And we had a couple of chats, and I was like, "Look, if you think that she's reaching out, or if you think that you're drawn to her, go see, speak if you can, meditate. Maybe it'll turn out that it is real." And it has turned out that Pele has reached out for this woman. Yes, it is Pele, and I'm really happy for her, because since she's spoken to Pele, she's become so much happier, so much cheerful. I popped into work today on my day off just to grab something, and she was so happy. It was lovely to see, and that made me feel really happy. And I chat with everyone about my beliefs and my systems if they ask me about it. I try not to force it down anybody's throat, because that's cruel and mean, and I'm not Christian. But I talk to everyone about that kind of thing. And then last week on Wednesday, another co-worker was like, "Yes, so our other co-worker friend has had this happen to her, and how do you feel about it?" And I was like, "It's not my place to feel anything. I mean, I'm happy for her, like I've said. It's always nice to know that there's another pagan in the area that isn't going to shove like their belief system down my throat, or might want to do something in the future if we get together, have a ritual. I don't know. It's we could do that. We might not. It doesn't bother me hugely. I mean, one of our co-workers, Nando, who I hi Nando, because you probably watched this and know who I'm talking about, wondering why I'm not naming names, but other than yours, is already a Norse god follower, and he is an Asataru. I think that's how you say it, because I don't follow any strict religious code. I am an eclectic pagan, as has already been discussed. I used to follow Anubis. I still honour Anubis because he has been there. He was there up until the point where I found out that Loki was the one that was going, "Poke, poke, you and me were having a chat," which is great, that's fine, but Anubis will always have a special place in my heart, and Loki has to accept that, and if he doesn't, sorry. But Nando is the opposite. He is very much the Norse gods, which is fine. He as he has said, he's going to lord his gods over all others, and it's fine. It's fine. And he was like, "Well, okay, so talking to Aiden has said I can use his name, so Aiden, about like how he would like it to be one of the 12, and he would like him to be able to explore that with him and me and all that kind of stuff." And I just said, "Look, you go home, you explore all the gods if you want to, and if you feel particularly drawn to one, that's possibly who you are drawn to, and no one can tell you otherwise except yourself and your god. Like I've said, I'm not. Loki and I have had arguments. Loki and I have shared cupcakes. You know, it's between me and Loki. It's not between anyone else. I mean, for example, I know my friend, one of my friends is called, his name is Blacksmith Phil, and I'm pretty sure he won't mind me talking about this. When he greets Loki and leaves Loki offerings, he gives him whiskey. Now, I can't drink whiskey, it makes me really sick. So I once bought a little bottle of whiskey just to give it to Loki, and Loki didn't like it because it was like, well, I want to share this with you. I can't, so I buy port now if I can afford it. So yeah, port is what I give Loki. Or at the moment, I've got ginger wine, and everyone in my house seems to love ginger wine, so it's okay. And yeah, it's each to your own. You can't fight who's called you. And it turns out that Apollo has chosen Aiden. As far as we can figure out, Aiden's a big music lover. He loves the bow and arrow. He loves music. What is music? He's a strong leader. Are you playing with my head massager? You are. And he is. Apollo fits him. Fair enough. I don't fit a typical Lokian apparently, but you know, that's who's called to him, and fair enough. The day, I think it was the day of or the day after, Aiden got really sick, which is another thing that Apollo apparently. I haven't looked into this, to be fair. I'm not. Growler is imminently interested whenever I start talking about magical things. Apparently. Can I get your tail out, friend, please? Please don't sit on the. Thank you. And it was only for a day, and then when he acknowledged it, he's feeling a lot better. Now, admittedly, Aiden has said that he doesn't want to follow, you know, label himself as a pagan, and I'm like, that's fine. It's just a kind of catch-all umbrella of everything that isn't mono-religious belief systems, or Judeo-Christian, whatever you want to call it. That's the reason I call myself a pagan, and I like that blanket because, like, it's okay. I mean, it covers Kemetic, Asataru, I think that's how you say it, Celtic, Druidic, Hindu, technically, some satanic versions. I'm not going into that though. Not that I don't like it, it's just there's two different sects and both of them confuse the hell out of me. I have researched it. Religion is a very interesting thing for me, always has been, but sidetracking. And yeah, so I was like, okay, fine. Now, the really interesting thing, and it's taken me 13 minutes to get to this point, is our three gods, for the three people that I've just mentioned, are kind of linked. Now, the research I've done into Loki, Loki is a fire god. He was found in a lot of blacksmiths with stones. I've researched it, and blacksmiths had stones that had Loki's stitching in the mouth, and sometimes they were put over the furnace, and there's stuff like that. He's a fire god, and in my eyes, he's always kind of been a bit like a creationist god because he makes trouble and then finds a way to fix the trouble in the most creative ways possible. He gets himself out of trouble just as much as he gets himself into trouble, and to me that's kind of a creation thing. He's also a trickster, I get it. He is a trickster god, but trickster gods have always been to me a form of chaotic creation because they always seem to make trouble and then fix it again. So it's a cycle of I'm going to destroy and then I'm going to create. And that, whether it's Coyote or Loki or I can't think of any others off the top of my head because it's been so long. But anyway, Apollo is the god of creativity as well, and he's a big ball of fire in the sky. So he can also do destruction at the same time. So the two gods kind of mesh up a little bit. And then there's Pele, who is creation and destruction again. So these three gods have picked three people in the same rough area, the same place, and the only connection that they had originally to any form of fire and creation god was me. And it feels like the same way it was in school, where I was being used to recruit people. And it literally felt like I was recruiting people, but all I was doing was going, hey, let's have a chat. Let's just chat about this and go, so you think that this is a cool thing to research. Okay, go research it. Go have a look. I'm not going to give you my book. I can give you my book, but you will have all of my opinions on stuff, and that may not fit with you. What you need to do is go out there, read loads of different stuff, and find out if any of it fits with you. And if it does, great, welcome to the fold. If it doesn't, you've tried. Have fun doing what you want to do. I'm not going to push you like that. But the problem is, it seems that when I went go research, they'd find something and come back and go, I found this cool thing, can I join? It's like, well, there's nothing to join, but if you want to create a coven, great, we'll do that. And I feel like that's happening again, and I don't know why. There was a reason for it when I was at school, and it seemed to help a lot of the people that were there, and it created something that gave us a really rough structure, and it gelled us really tight as friends, and it did a lot for us. I don't know why it's doing it now, because they already have that structure. I don't, and I don't want to be one. I hope that they're not just appearing to get, because I'm not that important, that I don't think of myself as being important enough to go for the gods to go, hey, you need a support structure, let's build one for you, because I like to think that they'd let me do it myself. Unless I'm an idiot, which I am, so maybe I'm not that important in their eyes. But this is what I wanted to talk about. I've had an amazing couple of coincidences that has turned someone into a possible believer. Like I said, he still wants to do the whole, is this real? Which is fair, and he can do what he likes. And then there's one lady who practiced beforehand and now is practicing again. So yeah, I figured that was cool and something worth talking to you guys about. And finally, happy Beltaine, or May Day if you like it, or if you don't celebrate anything, happy day off for the bank holiday. Woo! And okay, so tomorrow there will be a Fallout 4 video. We will return to normal scheduling. And I am going to finally, I do have a Beam account, but I don't get how it works, and it's annoying the hell out of me, so I'm going to open a Twitch account at some point this week. And the idea is, whenever I don't do a scheduled video, so Tuesday and Saturday, I will do an hour's stream from 8 till 9, or maybe 9:30, so about an hour and a half, just for fun. I don't do videos on Wednesdays, but there's a reason why I don't do videos on Wednesdays, and that is because I go out. So, but anyway, if you think that's a good idea, leave me a message. If you have any questions, leave me a message. If you're going to be a hateful twat who decides to put a "you are going to hell" or any such thing like that, one, I am going to hell, not your version of hell. Hope you don't mind me being a dick in that way, because I am. And two, go take your hate speech somewhere else. I don't give a shit about you. I'm not searching down your videos and going, you're all wrong, dudes. You're talking to a big guy in the sky that doesn't exist. Despite the fact that I regularly talk to people, I think they're in another dimension. But that's because according to some people, I'm crazy. But hey, I'm pagan, I'm happy, I'm proud, and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.